What's up, everybody? It's Dr. Winters, and while it doesn't look like there is a war going on, currently at least, there is a war going on in my replies because you guys keep tagging me in all these crazy videos. That being said, thanks for all the support recently on the videos. I really do appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get right into what I'm here for, replying and watching dental videos. Also, we are still on the journey to 10 million followers to get this racket off my teeth. It's been on there for over 3 years, so please subscribe. All right, 100% real braces magic process. Oh my gosh, it's another one of those AI videos, isn't it? That is a closing loop. That is a real thing. But no, it does not work that. So, oh my gosh, let's just watch this through. Okay, so we're moving that canine over, dragging it in, pulling it in. Okay, tooth comes up. Okay. I'm pulling it with the chain over here. Okay, so let's go back and go over here. So the first thing that I see, they're removing that tooth. This closing loop, it's supposed to be bringing that canine back. If you don't know, this is what's called a transposition. This is where you actually have the tooth in the wrong spot. Now, the way that they're doing this is showing that this canine is just gonna magically flip over this entire tooth and flip it. That's not possible. You can't physically do that. In fact, a lot of the times you lose one of these teeth, or you do what's called a transposition, where you move the canine into where that lateral is and you just leave the, basically the lateral in the canine spot. Sometimes you can get it built up to make it look more like a canine and all those different things. But if you try and move these over each other like that, well, you're gonna end up actually ruining this lateral root and dissolving it a lot of the times, and then it ends up falling out. So yeah, that's not necessarily something that happens. But we'll just pretend that that's okay. You can see there's a little spring on that wire that opens up the space. That is something that we do. We do have a little piggyback wire that goes up and over. That is something that can actually happen. And then that last thing that you see there up in the corner with the little rubber band there is what we call a TAD. Now, it's a temporary anchorage device. And sometimes we can use that to pull back teeth, just not in this similar scenario. So even though these look like it's doing something we could be doing, it's definitely not correct. Alex said, the pain will be insane. And yes, if you're doing it like this, you're definitely gonna have some pretty crazy pain for sure. Slime says, how the F did I get here? And yet I wonder the same thing sometimes. Either way, don't worry. This is not gonna happen to you. This is weird AI stuff. Trust me, it's a lot simpler, a lot easier to get you that Hollywood smile you want. All right, braces fit check. Well, you don't see any braces on there. Oh, that's because they're on the inside. Look at that. That's pretty cool stuff. Now, these are what we call lingual braces. I can actually pause it on there so you can see it. And so obviously you guys know the typical versions that we have. Braces on the outside, and then you have invisible aligners like Invisalign. Now, these are called lingual braces, and these are actually, lingual means tongue in that side. So it's on the side of the tooth that the tongue is on, which is on basically the inside. And so you put these brackets on there, and they use these special wires that are kind of like this to go in there, and it does work. There's a whole different biomechanical process to do this. You have to get a special kind of continuing education to really learn how to utilize these and do these well. But there are some people that are professionals at this that do it really well. I personally have never been trained in lingual braces, and we don't offer that. A lot of dentists don't offer it. What I noticed was that early on there was a lot of people that were doing this, and it was getting a lot of tongue ripping. Your tongue is touching back there all the time. So imagine stuff on your tongue every day, all the time. So that was my big worry about this. But there are newer ones that are a little bit slimmer now that don't, hurt the tongue as much. To be honest though, nobody really cares if you got braces. You've got invisible aligners for the invisible version, which work just as well as probably these lingual braces do. So it's never been something that I decided I wanted to do. But for someone who wants braces and doesn't want to see the braces, then I think it's a pretty good idea, I guess. Just make sure you find someone specialized in it. Skylar says, it looks 10 times more painful. And it's not necessarily more painful, although I do hear that there are a big, there's a learning curve at the beginning for your tongue to get used to it, so you can get cut sores, canker sores all over your tongue. So it's pretty miserable for some people, for sure. And just like Birdie said, the tongue is about to be shredded. Yes. Yes, it is. But the tongue will toughen up over time, and then you'll get used to it. And then Pixie says, that looks so hard to clean. And actually, I didn't ever think about that. It would be fairly tough to clean. Maybe use a water flosser back there or something like that. I don't know. Would you get lingual braces, or would you just stick with the regular braces? All right, we got, it looks like a hydraulic press channel versus a real tooth. Now, teeth are very compressive strength-wise. So let's see, 50 kg, 90 kg, 120 kg. Dang, 125 kg. Oh my gosh, this is going very high. We're like, oh, it broke right there. He's going for it again. Dang, all the way up to 335 kilograms of force, and that thing is still not shattering. 400, 500, 600. Oh, and there it goes. Ooh, so 600 kilograms of force. Now, because most of us are American here, I looked that up. So 600 kilograms of force is over 1,300 pounds of force. So imagine putting 1,300 of centralized force directly on your tooth. That's pretty insane. That's what it causes it to crack. And actually, that's pretty wild when you really think about it, how tough your teeth really are. Now, the really crazy part is during the day, you physically can't squeeze that hard. If you try and squeeze really hard like that, your body will physically stop you with pain responses and stuff like that. But at night, guess what? Those clenching and grinders out there, you know who you are? Well, you're completely, your body's physiology does not stop you from squeezing as hard as you want at that time. So you can really squeeze hard, you can grind enough to wear your teeth down hardcore and even crack and break your teeth over time, just like this hydraulic press did. And if your teeth are weak enough, they might even shatter just like that did. Either way, I don't want this to happen to my teeth ever, please. Rusty says, my tooth is aching after watching this. Yes, agreed. That would be very painful. Eugene says, and here I am, I chipped my tooth on a fork. Yeah, see, this is perfect compression strength downward. You can still just bang stuff and chip stuff for sure. Either way, I hope that we're never in the situation that my teeth are in a hydraulic press, like some new saw technique or something like that. Yeah, that better not be in the new movies. 4-year-old braces face. Dang, 4-year-olds getting braces is kind of a big deal. Oh my gosh, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Wait a second. This is not in a dental office. Is that in somebody's like living room? They have a freaking ring light on the back there. They got some like hair stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure this mom is just putting braces directly on her little kid's teeth. That's not good. Oh, okay. So down, I was gonna say down in the bottom, she says we took them off the same day. My daughter loved them. So hopefully she's not doing this to other people. It looks like she put them on and took them off same day. Maybe it was for a costume or something. I don't know. Either way, don't do this. The crazy part is this is really happening. We call it, it's like basement braces or whatever, where you're just going into random places and putting braces on. You would definitely not be doing this on a 4-year-old, one, because they basically only have baby teeth. They don't even have permanent teeth to move at that point. Now, sometimes we do baby teeth, what's called phase 1 therapy. So they're an underbite, all right, little kid. That's normally around 9 years old, like 7 at the earliest, not 4. We would never put braces on a 4-year-old pretty much. It's really just that 9 years old for phase 1, and then phase 2 would be that 12 to 14 years old. But had me scared there for a second. I thought we were running some type of operation on little kids. Oh my gosh, and Desi says, not you to taking her to buy braces by Brianna. That's all I was gonna say. I was like, God, I hope that's not a thing there. And then Cece says, you put power chains on first. That's a big call out there. You would definitely not put power chains on an early wire right out of the gate. It would just completely collapse and screw all your teeth up really bad. So maybe don't go to a random person to get your braces on. All right. For months, I thought I looked stupid. Okay, so it looks like we're doing a little premolar journey here, a little premolar extraction journey. So as you can see, she's getting some good movement there for sure. All right, so now I want to pause it there at the very beginning where she has her face turned sideways here. You can see she's got some poof out there. We call that bimax protrusion. We got stuff is sticking out. And in this one case, I'm going to do the opposite of what I usually do. Usually I am against taking teeth out. And even in this case, there is definitely a case to be made that you could have done this without taking teeth out. But that being said, there are some people that need to get teeth out. If you have trouble closing your lips and you can't keep them closed because your teeth are so flared out and so out there, you have what's called protrusion, right? And so obviously that's not good. If you can't close your lips, everything is too far out. We do need to retract back and get you back into a good profile. And so taking out 4 teeth here, or taking out 2 teeth in her case, it looks like they only took out the upper 2 teeth. She was so far out this way, and they can bring it back, is really gonna change her profile for the better. And so if you look at it here at the beginning, we definitely see we're really stuck out there. She really can't close her lips, you can say. And then by the end, let's see where she's at. So turn to the side there and look how much her profile has changed. Now, if you're way stuck out here and we pull it back, that ends up normal, looks really good. If you have a normal profile and they're taking teeth out on you, which is happening all the time, unfortunately, well, then you're gonna go back and you're gonna look like an old lady, and that is what we really want to avoid. But that being said, we do still take teeth out on people. It's just very rare. If they have way out here and they can't close their lips and there's nowhere to go, then yes, maybe taking teeth out makes sense. If they're hyper crowded, more than you could ever imagine, even then still I'll probably unravel everything. We'll see how far out it is and then potentially take teeth out. But still, it's a very select group of people that should be getting their teeth out. Not very many people at all. But in this case, you can tell it brought everything back and made her profile look really good, and she ended up with a good result here. M says, it's so cool how braces literally change the whole view of your face. I bet you have confidence, right? She recommends everybody getting them as soon as possible. I also recommend you guys getting braces. I mean, it's awesome to have awesome Hollywood straight teeth. And yes, you can tell that her face and stuff did change for the better in this case. And then Ariana says, hi, did you only extract 2 teeth during your braces treatment? Your results look amazing. And in that case, yes, they did. Now this happens when you have a class 2, big override like this. If everything in the back is looking good, you can just take 2 teeth out and just bring everything back that way. And it will work and get you into a really good position without having to take out too many teeth. Still, really good result, and congrats on your new Hollywood smile. I think the dentist hit a nerve in my eye. What do you mean? Oh my gosh. You guys see that, right? One of his pupils is way bigger than the other. Oh my gosh, those saxophones are definitely indeed lingering and getting louder in the background. So yeah, when you know, it's not good, you know, no, but for real though, this is not a normal thing at all. So there is this thing, I believe it's called like anisocoria or something. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've looked at this stuff, where you can just naturally have uneven pupils. But if your pupils were normal and then all of a sudden this happened, that can be concerning, okay? That's not a good sign. More than likely they hit the oculomotor nerve or something in, you know, if it's up here and you're hitting it, there's a lot of nerves around. In fact, we've had some where, you know, droopiness and, you know, the whole side of your facial nerve gets numbed, things like that. I've never really seen an oculomotor nerve get hit like this, but that could be something. Another issue is it could be something really severe. You know, normally if I would see this, I would say go to an ER ASAP and just have them check and make sure everything is okay, because this could be a sign of a stroke or an aneurysm or something way worse, you know, so you want to rule those things out. It can also happen from some different medications, but if it just happened right after a dental office, it probably was just a oculomotor nerve hit. I believe it would be the oculomotor nerve, but I'm not 100% sure there. Definitely go to an ER and get that checked out, because that's kind of scary. And no, it is not normal and not something, I have never seen it before. I've seen the droopy face, you know, the paralyzed face, facial nerve thing. It normally just comes back. And hopefully that's the case for him, but I would definitely go get it checked out. Yeah, and so there we go. Cinema said, baby, that's anisocoria. And that would be only if it was there all the time. If it just happens out of nowhere, that's not okay. I'm gonna keep scrolling, hope you're okay. Yeah, no, I hope you're okay too. Oh my gosh, and he said, update coming. I can barely see the phone at the moment. Everything is still blurry, but it is improving. Okay, that is telling me that normally it's probably just the anesthetic that hit that nerve, and it probably, if it's improving, it's probably fine. And actually, last one, this one says, I'm a dental hygienist. Please get to your nearest emergency room ASAP. Now back to the dentist who did this. Make sure you have a report printed with your own physical copy, and make sure that's noted properly. She's getting ready for a lawsuit. Normally these things wouldn't occur into a lawsuit. Like I said, it's probably just gonna go back to normal. Keyword probably. Oh my goodness, what is going on with the back of her throat? Well, I'll tell you, because, you know, I'm an orthodontist and a dentist, and I know exactly what's going on. This girl got a tonsillectomy. That's right. And fun fact, back in the day, people used to get tonsils out almost all the time. Like your father, your mother, and their grandfather or grandmother, you know, it was like normal. It's like you were born, it's like, tonsil adenoid, pop them out, get them out of there. And then we said, oh, we probably shouldn't do that. Those are like lymph nodes that are like doing something in our body, you know, getting the toxins out of our body. We should probably not do that. And so now it's actually really hard to get a tonsillectomy, actually. You have to have a lot of problems to be able to get your tonsils out these days. But if you do get them out, they will look just like that. You know, basically where you have this giant crater there. It's just because they laser them out. Like they cut them out and then they can cauterize and everything. But the problem is it can actually be pretty dangerous, because you form these big giant scabs in the back there, and your whole entire back of your throat is basically covered in these giant scabs. And fun fact, if you do something too aggressive back there and they break, you can actually bleed out. That's right. You can, and it could be a really serious thing. So basically, we don't do this very often anymore. Another big reason is because we used to think you can get it out, because your tonsils will actually swell as you get, you know, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then, but fun fact, they shrink after that. So as you get older, they will actually get smaller and become less of a problem as you age. But I do hear that they are one of the most painful, excruciating experiences, mainly the recovery, because you're just like, you can't swallow, you can't do anything. You're like, I can't move for a while there as, you know, it cleans up. But I don't know, you guys let me know. I've never had tonsillectomy, but you probably have in the comments. You can tell me about it. Lydia said, I had kissing tonsils. Oh, that's insane. I think that's like literally where they're so large, they touch each other in the middle. They can block off your airway and then you can't breathe and you die. I'm just kidding, you don't die. But you can get them removed so you can actually breathe. Oh my gosh, me realizing I had a tonsillectomy, I'm telling you, I don't think I have ever seen somebody that had a tonsillectomy that did not tell me it was one of the worst experiences of their life. And I Love Coffee says, I had a tonsillectomy 20 years ago because I had the worst tonsillitis. And that's true. That is one of the big things. It's like you have to get tonsillitis like every 6 months or within 3 times in 1 year or something like that. They have their things you need to do for an ENT to even approve you to get them out. But you know, maybe just rinse your mouth out with warm salt water or something and instead of having to just get them out completely, you know, that could work. And then remember, they do shrink as you get older and they become less and less of a problem. I should know because I thought I wanted them out and then I didn't, and now I'm older and they're smaller and they're not even that big of a deal anymore. But you know what is a big deal is the fact that you have not subscribed yet. I need 10 million followers to get this dang bracket off my teeth. It's been on there for 3 years. Please do it. I love you. Thanks for the support on the recent videos. Like and comment and sharing. I love you guys. Keep tagging me in the crazy videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.